Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study Night, the 9th of April, 2025. Okay. What we'll be dealing with for our main topic will be Iran man celebrates Black American martyrs. We're gonna play that, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Uh, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets to Israel Wake Up. Check out our videos. We have over 200 or so at this point videos that you can look at, examine, get the meat out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing or receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, and invite other people to come in and uh, dialogue with us. Okay, this is a non-Messianic channel. Okay, we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, this channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up in these last days to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We have our Women's Health Moment with Michelle, current events, and then we have some need to know information. And we'll open it up for anybody with any questions, any comments, any dialogue, or anybody with any testimonies. And then we'll go into our topic for discussion, which is I've talked about it on several occasions. It's about the data centers that's being built across America, especially, but it's actually global. But they're having a profound effect on America, right? Okay, and then like I said, our scripture reading will be we'll be dealing with the how they told us about. I have a video how they told us about why they are building the bunkers. Uh, we dialogue, we bouncing off of a movie or a sitcom that came into existence, which is your I can't think of the name, but I think of it all. Okay, so anyway, with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, well, Lord, we come before Thee, uh, and we appreciate You, oh Lord, for Your patience, Your guidance in these last days, oh Lord, and we thank You for Your awakening of us to this great understanding of Your Word. And we come before You that You keep and direct us and guide us through the upcoming week. Okay, oh Lord, that for You, for there are trials and tribulations, pestilence and mayhem at every turn. Oh Lord, we see Your almighty hand in the world's affairs, and how You are instructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon Thee. And for this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of You to find You, O Lord, and to dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay? You want to read Psalms?
Shalom, brother, and shalom, everyone. Psalm 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. My soul is also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me from thy mercy's sake. Verse 5. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave who shall give thee thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. My eye is consumed because of grief. It waxed old because of all my enemies. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity, for the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all my enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. That was Psalm 6, verse 1 through 10.
Okay, you got any feedback on that?
Yeah, I want to apologize. I read that one last Thursday. I was going to
Okay,
read 7, but I had read 6.
okay, all right. So with that being said, we'll go to our women's health moment with Michelle. Okay.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on natural ways to boost liver detox. The liver plays a vital role in the body and handles over 500 important functions necessary for our health. One of the liver's main function is detoxification. Everything we eat, drink, or take as medication passes through it, where the liver filters, breaks down, and either turns substance into nutrients or removes them as waste. If the liver isn't working properly, toxins can build up, leading to leading to fatigue, digestive issues, and long-term problems like fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, or liver cancer. Current dietary practices, including the consumption of processed foods, exposure to environmental pollutants, and excessive intake, have considerably heightened the risk of liver strain. Here are 7 natural ways to support your liver's health. 1. Stay hydrated. Water is one of the best things you can do for your liver. Get into the habit of drinking water instead of sweetened drinks like sodas or sports drinks. 2. Eat liver friendly foods. Add greens like spinach, kale, broccoli, and antioxidant rich berries to your diet. Cut back on alcohol. Alcohol stresses your liver, so limit or eliminate it to give your liver a break. 4. Incorporate turmeric. Turmeric supports liver health and reduces inflammation. Explore herbal remedies. Certain herbs, such as dandelion root and milk thistle, are recognized for their ability to reduce inflammation, promote the regeneration of liver cells, enhance detoxification processes, and protect the liver from toxins, including alcohol and medications. 6. Garlic. Garlic is a rich source of antioxidants that protect the liver from damage associated with alcoholic liver disease. The powerful antioxidants help reduce free radicals. 7. Exercise. Engaging in physical activity each day helps your liver function better. Try to dedicate 30 minutes to activities like brisk walking or jogging. Consistent exercise enhances liver health. It boosts liver function by enhancing blood flow. It helps reduce inflammation, which can harm liver cells. It helps your liver get rid of toxins from your body. It increases the body's production of enzymes that aid in detoxification. Enhancing liver health involves making informed decisions that reduce the risk of developing fatty liver disease, minimizing exposure to harmful substances, and promoting the liver's natural detoxification processes. By gaining knowledge about liver health and actively supporting it, individuals contribute to maintaining optimal liver function. Attending to your liver health is essential for preserving the body's natural detoxification capabilities. I will be reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verses 29 through 31. God will hear if Israel repents. Verse 29. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shall be obedient unto his voice. For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he swore unto them. Tonight's discussion was on natural ways to boost liver detox, and I read from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verses 29 through 31. God will hear if Israel repents. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, we appreciate that information. Okay, we're gonna go to our current events. Okay, and the first video I have is if anybody been paying attention, they had a ceasefire yesterday, and it was supposed to last for 2 weeks, but we're gonna see what happens.
The U.S. and Iran now in a delicate holding pattern with a 2-week ceasefire in place as negotiations begin to ramp up. Vice President J.D. Vance is headed to Pakistan for those talks for that nuclear peace deal to try and end the war. And joining us now to discuss is former Pentagon Deputy Secretary and former White House Communications Officer Teresa Morgenstern. Good morning to you, Teresa. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Jan. Thank you for having me.
The administration says military objectives have now been met. They say there's now leverage for this deal. So tell me, what are your thoughts on that progress and on this current ceasefire with what could come next?
Yeah, absolutely. The objectives have been met. The United States has completely obliterated the Iranian military capability. There's no Air Force, there's no Navy. And by the way, President Trump and his administration has been able to do this in just 38 days. So this has been an incredible success. Obviously, we're still at the negotiating table, but President Trump has been able to do something that no other president has been able to do in 47 years.
Right. And Israel is supporting that ceasefire with Iran, but of course, making it clear this does not apply to what they're doing in Lebanon with Hezbollah as they continue those strikes. How much does that complicate these negotiations, though?
Well, I have to say, I think Iran is complicating the negotiations here. And part of our negotiating is that all proxies to Iran are part of this, are not going to be a part of this movement going forward. And Hezbollah is essentially a proxy of Iran. And so that is why Lebanon is not included in this ceasefire.
Yeah, very true. And with Iran now threatening the Strait of Hormuz yet again, how real is this risk that this ceasefire could fall apart, and how should Trump respond if it does?
Well, I like to say that President Trump and his team have access to information that you or I or the general public don't have access to. So only they know exactly what's going to happen next. But President Trump has been a strong negotiator with this, as well as his team with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. As you mentioned, the vice president is heading to Pakistan today to continue negotiations. So I think we're in a position now that we can still protect the Strait of Hormuz. But again, President Trump has been strong and he's not afraid to do what needs to be done in order to bring down the terrorist regime that Iran has.
Speaking of the information that's coming out, because obviously there's things going on behind the scenes we're not hearing about, that we're not privy to, how do you, though, get some of that disinformation out of the media? Because the president and of course, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt yesterday, pretty heated about some news outlets reporting on this 10-point peace plan that the president never agreed to, that some news outlets said were part of this deal, part of this ceasefire. How do you begin to start making sure some of that disinformation gets sorted out so that people, like Americans, don't believe it to be true?
Right. And so, as you mentioned, there are some media outlets that have been putting out disinformation almost as a propaganda arm of what the Iranian regime wants to message out. And so what I have absolutely loved about what this administration has done during the entire Operation Epic Fury is how transparent they have been. We've seen weekly, almost daily press conferences from both the White House and the Pentagon. And so I would recommend to all media outlets, as somebody who has worked with the media before, is what the
Journal, the War Department.
Snap your W-2.
And the alliance that have not pulled their weight to countries that have backed the mission. The National News Desk's Christine Frizzat was live on Capitol Hill with the latest, and this would be very significant if this happened. Good morning to you.
Yeah, John, we've heard the president criticize NATO for years, but this potential action of moving troops would be significant. He has been vocal in his anger at countries like Spain, Italy, France, and Germany, which have either blocked the use of airspace or have criticized the war. There are about 84,000 U.S. troops across Europe. And the president posted on Truth Social, quote, NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we need them again. This just hours after meeting with NATO chief Mark Rutte at the White House.
Let me be absolutely clear. He is clearly disappointed with many NATO allies, and I can see his point. But at the same time, I was also able to point to the fact that the large majority of European nations has been helpful with basing, with logistics, with overflights, with making sure that they lived up to the commitments.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war was started?
Absolutely, because, and this is thanks to President Trump's leadership.
Now, let's be clear, President Trump would need the approval of Congress to pull out of NATO, and that support doesn't appear to be there. But moving troops is something it seems he can do. The one thing some NATO countries are assisting in is the effort to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This is a delicate time for a historically close partnership that could really reshape the entirety of the world order.
Now, it's also slamming Iran for once again threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz just hours after it reopened. Overnight, Iranian state-run media spread propaganda claiming sea mines were planted in the strait, which of course would be a clear violation of that agreement. But here's what we're actually seeing this morning. There's ships and tankers still moving through that critical waterway without any incident, and it's already having an impact. Industry leaders say oil prices could drop even faster now if this holds.
The minute we settled something, it went $20 a barrel. And right now, we're still in a risk period. The risk period is the next, so let's see what happens the next 2 weeks. Once that risk period goes away, it's going to go down another $20 a barrel. It'll get closer to the $65 a barrel that we were pre-war. And
all of that is dependent on the free flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz.
Absolutely. And I talked to my friend Nicholas Tsakos, the Greek tycoon, the shipping tycoon. And right now the ships are moving.
And that momentum.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Here we go.
That everything is properly recording. Yes, it appears to be working just fine. So today, I want to bring up a question that I genuinely believe sits at the very center of global politics right now, more urgent and more misunderstood than almost any other. That question is simply this: is Israel actually an ally of the United States? Now, on the surface, most people would say, of course, Israel is an ally. Look at the evidence. America gives Israel billions of dollars in military aid every single year. America vetoes UN resolutions critical of Israel. America sends aircraft carrier strike groups to the Eastern Mediterranean whenever Israel faces a threat. These are not the actions of enemies, right? But I want to challenge that assumption directly and with full force, because if you take the time to study history carefully, if you apply the logic of game theory without sentimentality, the truth turns out to be almost exactly the opposite of what we are told. Israel is not America's ally. Israel is America's replacement. That sounds extreme, I know. So let me walk through the argument piece by piece. This is a layered idea, and it demands that we set aside what we think we know and instead look at how the world actually functions, not how it is presented to us in newspapers and television debates. First, I want to return to a framework I have discussed before, because without it, nothing that follows will make complete sense. At the deepest level of the global system, you have what we call the empire. The empire is the muscle. It is the military power that enforces the rules, protects the flow of resources, and suppresses any challenge to the existing order. For the last 80 years, that empire has been the United States of America. Surrounding the empire, you have the world of finance, Wall Street, the City of London, the Bank for International Settlements. These are the game masters. They do not hold guns, but they write the rules of the economic game. They decide who gets credit and who goes bankrupt. Below them, the entire global economy runs on the US dollar, which gives America enormous structural power. And then, on top of everything, you have what Americans like to call the rules-based international order, the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund. These institutions exist to make the whole arrangement appear fair, legal, and legitimate. But in reality, they are masks. Their function is to hide the raw power of the empire and the quiet control of finance behind a screen of diplomatic language and procedural niceties. Now, here is the crucial point. Every major player inside this system, the big banks, the defense contractors, the intelligence agencies, the old family networks that span continents, their primary interest is not making the world better. It is maintaining the system as it is. They benefit from stability, from predictability, from the status quo. They do not want fundamental change. But there is a serious problem. The muscle of the system, the American empire, is visibly weakening. And when the muscle weakens, the entire structure becomes vulnerable. So the people who actually run things, the financial elites, the game masters, they now face one urgent, inescapable question. Who will replace America? I realize this sounds like a grand conspiracy theory. So let me ground it in historical evidence, because this is not a new pattern. In fact, this is one of the most repeated patterns in all of human civilization. I call it the mercenary pattern. Here is how it works. A great empire, as it ages, becomes reluctant to do its own dirty work. It does not want to be seen as brutal. It wants to project an image of civilization, democracy, lawfulness. So it outsources violence. It hires mercenaries, local fighters, allied militias to do the killing, the destabilizing, the coercion. And here is what is fascinating. Over and over again, those mercenaries eventually turn on their masters. Consider the Romans. In their early days, the Romans fought as mercenaries for the Etruscans in northern Italy. They did the Etruscans' dirty work. And then one day the Romans looked at their employers and said, we are the ones dying. We are the ones fighting. The Etruscans are weak and corrupt. Why are we serving them? And so they replaced the Etruscans entirely. Rome became the empire. Consider the Mongols. They began as mercenaries and border guards for the Chinese dynasties. They protected the frontiers. They fought the steppe tribes. And then Genghis Khan looked at China and said, we are stronger than these people. Why should we obey them? And the Mongols conquered China. Consider the Aztecs. They started as mercenaries for the Calhua people in central Mexico. Same story. They eventually overthrew their employers and built their own empire. Do you see the pattern in every single case? The mercenary becomes more hardened, more determined, more willing to sacrifice than the decaying empire they serve, and eventually they replace it. Now apply this to Israel. Israel was created in 1948 primarily by British and American strategic planners. Its original purpose was to serve as a reliable proxy in the Middle East, a pit bull, a forward operating base, an aircraft carrier that could not be sunk. Israel would fight wars, destabilize hostile governments, absorb international criticism, and do all the bloody work so that America could stand back and appear clean. And for decades, that arrangement worked. Israel fought in 1948, 1956, 1967, 1973, 1982, 2006, and repeatedly in Gaza. But now Israel is looking at America and saying exactly what the Romans said about the Etruscans, exactly what the Mongols said about the Chinese. We are the ones doing all the work. We are the ones making the sacrifices. America is weak, divided, corrupt, and confused. So why should we remain the servant? Why should we not become the empire ourselves? This brings me to a second important concept. How do global elites actually choose which country to back as the next empire? Think of it like venture capital. Imagine you are an investor with trillions of dollars to deploy, and two companies come to you asking for funding. Company A says, we have 100 profitable subsidiaries. We have decades of experience. We have skilled managers. We have enormous resources. Trust us. Company B says, we have failed before, but we will work 16 hours a day. We will never stop. This is our last chance. If we fail, we die. We will do whatever it takes. Most people would choose Company A as the safe bet, but a truly smart investor chooses Company B because Company A has 100 other companies to fall back on. The Super Mario Galaxy.
Okay.
Particular venture fails. I call this emerging order Pax Judea, the Israeli peace. Just as history had Pax Romana, the Roman peace, Pax Britannica, the British peace, and Pax Americana, the American peace, we are now moving toward a new imperial order centered on Israel. What are the pillars of Pax Judea? First, control of Middle Eastern resources. The Middle East holds about 20% of the world's proven oil reserves, massive natural gas fields, and the most important maritime choke points on the planet. Israel, because of its geography, sits at the crossroads of three continents: Africa, Asia, and Europe. It has coastline on the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. No other country in the region has this strategic advantage. Second, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. For India to trade efficiently with Europe, the shortest and most secure route goes through the Middle East, directly across Israeli territory. Once this corridor is fully established, it will become one of the most valuable trade arteries in the world, and Israel will control its center. Third, data and artificial intelligence. Israel already has more data centers in the Middle East than any other country. It has world-class universities, a thriving technology sector, and the most sophisticated intelligence infrastructure in the region. In the 21st century, data is power. Surveillance is control. Whoever controls the AI backbone of the Middle East controls its populations. Israel is positioned to dominate this field completely. Fourth, intelligence superiority. Consider the history of ISIS. ISIS carried out devastating attacks across the Middle East in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and beyond. But there is one Muslim majority country where ISIS never succeeded in mounting a major attack: Israel. Many intelligence analysts believe this is not an accident. They believe, whether correctly or not, that ISIS was at least partly shaped or manipulated by intelligence services to serve strategic ends. I am not endorsing any specific theory, but the empirical fact is clear. Israel has demonstrated a level of strategic intelligence capability that no other power in the region can match. So,
okay, anybody got any comments on that? Okay. So
Shalom. Shalom.
okay.
Sorry, I just got to my mic a little later. Shalom, everyone. I think it's not Israel. My opinion is going to be Europe. Israel is standing in the place for it, but it's going to be Europe. Europe is going to be the one, just like he explained at first about how Europe is connected to all the areas. And being that if we go back in history, how the Queen asked Columbus to come over and he discovered, so now basically the Queen or Europe owns the U.S., but they still think it's an independent um, country. It's not. So I'm looking at Europe.
Okay. Regardless of the prophecy.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the reason why I'm thinking if Israel is the promised land and Canaan is not the promised land, how how is it so? Is there getting this more because they're conquering for more land, and if that was into the ends of time where the promised land will be territorially taken over by others, so that the the followers or the Hebrew Israelites will be able to be there. That's something I was thinking on. How's that? So I'm still going to do some more research on it, but so far it looks like that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I have a question. The first thing, I didn't know about the data centers. I didn't know that they had as many as they did. Yes, sir. And then the second thing, Brother Leonard, is why does Israel think the way that they think about the West? That, they feel as though they've been doing all the work, they the strongest or whatever. And I feel like that is being said because they've been running the West. They know how they are.
Exactly.
It's just that they're coming out saying it now.
Right. And like he said, like the other guy was saying, they the ones been, like I said, they the ones killed JFK. They the ones been doing all the dirty work. When
Right.
the way World War One started, they was the one that sunk that ship that brought America into the war. So yeah, what he's saying is make sense. And now they always had plans to build a temple and all that. So all this you can see it all unfolding, lining up. Especially with the we've been talking about the data centers, and I got a video on play about that, but nobody knew the power behind the data centers that Israel had.
Right.
So that puts them right in, that lines them right up with the what's going on.
Shalom, everyone. I want to say that Israel is again the big player here, and that they're using the U.S. to do all the distractions with the ceasefire, with the coming over, going to bomb them, not going to bomb them, all of that, so they can continue to try and get Lebanon. Um, they, I think that they're just using the U.S. to continue to get what they want, and it is that they want the land for the people. Shalom.
Okay. Yeah, they backing Israel up, like the guy was saying. Israel is not our ally. they setting us up to bring for a fall. That's what America being set up for, is a fall. Like for example, look at all these troops they just sent over there. Now all of a sudden they're saying they're gonna retract those troops. Look at all the money been spent to get the troops over there.
Yes, sir. And it's like bully
Hey,
tactics.
oh yeah. So somebody's seriously confused. That's what it is, or being hoodwinked. Okay. So I was talking the other day about this movie. We was talking about Testament and the other movie that's Testament is jumping off of Handmaid. Well, I'm gonna deal with this movie right here today. It's got to do with let me get you please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again, man. Y'all see the title.
So if you haven't seen it, you might need to check it out. Check it out.
We're back on the Truth Is channel, and this title says Hollywood told us why they have bunkers. And I just feel like with all of these movies, all of these shows, and
so the main two that stick out when I think about this is Fallout, and then they have another one you don't really hear that much about, but it's Silo.
And what you're looking at is what's happening today. That movie, Leave the World Behind. That movie right there, where you had the one girl who stayed and watched Friends underground or whatever she was doing. Hey, it just makes you think, I ain't saying this stuff is true, but when you start to look at the patterns, it's like, hold on, man. There's so many movies where the elite of the elite get to go and hide out while the rest of us, hey, we ain't gonna waste no more time. The original video will be in the description. Let's jump right into it.
I use PayPal to buy this ticket. I'm paying it off over time. Yep.
In Fallout, the world ends in a flash of nuclear fire. For 200 years, the survivors were told it was a foreign conflict that triggered the collapse.
I haven't seen
that.
The
reality is much darker. The apocalypse wasn't a tragedy. It was the master plan of a powerful corporation. The elite didn't just survive the end of the world. They scheduled it to start a new one. And once you see this pattern in popular shows, you can't unsee it. From the age.
That's what I'm saying. These patterns and these popular shows. And I keep saying how this year has been extremely crazy. Like, it's hard to keep up with, like, all the news and all the craziness that's going on. You know, are they trying to do a damn restart, man? Because my goodness, this is wild out here.
That wiped out humanity in the 100, to the secret organization and preacher fast-tracking the second coming, to the bunker-dwelling chosen ones in American Horror Story. The narrative is always the same. They build the vaults, they trigger the collapse, and they wait for the dust to settle on the world they finally own. But here's where things get strange. In 2026, reality is imitating art. With billionaires now building fortress estates in Florida and Hawaii, we have to ask, are we watching entertainment or a warning for something coming? Today, we're decoding shows like Fallout in the 100 to uncover exactly what they reveal. And once you
I'm so mad at myself. I'm gonna finish because I was so far on the 100 and I never finished the show. I gotta finish that, man. Even though he's about to tell us what's going on, but I wonder, has anybody sat down with these billionaires and be like, yo?
Yeah, that's another one. It's need to watch. Is Fallout, the 100, and this other one. I think about it.
Why are you building a bunker? I'm just wondering.
Silo, Fallout,
what these shows are
Silo,
telling
and
us, you will
100.
never see them the same again. While most people think Fallout is about society's collapse and the survivors living in vaults, the show is actually about the elites manufacturing the enzymes in order to establish a new order of life. Vault-Tec, the company behind the giant vault-style bunkers, creates a devious plan to force the nuclear apocalypse to guarantee their vaults will be filled. While the survivors see them as heroes who provided safety, in reality, the elites were not just trying to save a random sample of humanity. They were specifically engineering a perfect society composed of people they deemed acceptable, predominantly loyal corporate employees and super managers. We see this in the interconnected systems of Vault 31, 32, and 33, which was a pet project of Vault-Tec executive Bud Askins. Vault 32 and 33 were populated with carefully selected normal citizens intended to serve as a genetically curated breeding pool. Vault 31 housed Bud's buds, junior Vault-Tec executives kept in cryotosis. They are periodically thawed and elected as overseers of the other two vaults to maintain corporate control and indoctrinate the dwellers. The ultimate objective was to breed a class of super managers who would inherit the earth once all competitors, anyone on the surface not under their control, had died out. These elites decided they wanted the leadership of the new world to be exclusively composed of pre-war Vault-Tec staff who shared the company's vision of a world run as a global monopoly. While something this ludicrous only seems possible in a show like Fallout, if you pay attention to what some of the richest and most powerful people in the world have been up to, it no longer seems so unbelievable. In the show, the goal wasn't just survival, it was about ending the world to establish the new one. Vault-Tec didn't want a random sample of the world. They wanted a world where the only people left were those who were corporate obedient slaves. Now look at the headlines from this year. You might have seen the reports on Project Airy, the $300 million luxury bunker set to open this summer. It's a subterranean society for 625 elite members who can afford the $20 million entry fee. These facilities featured AI-powered medical suites, robotic security.
$21 million entry fee. The information is out there. So when stuff goes down, y'all can't be like, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen, man. Oh my God, what do we do? Look, I think we're closer than people think.
Exactly.
It's a subterranean society for 625 elite members who can afford the $20 million entry fee. These facilities featured AI-powered medical suites, robotic security, and even simulated windows that mimic the outside world. A key component of Airy is its global network of subterranean sanctuaries nestled underneath its wellness centers in the heart of cities. Pair this with March 2026 reports of Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos making record-breaking moves into the billionaire bunker enclave in Florida, with Zuckerberg reportedly dropping $170 million on a single property. But it's not just about the location, it's about the infrastructure. Just like Buds, these real-world projects are designed for the preservation of those they deem worthy of inheriting the new world. When you see the richest people on Earth building 5,000 square foot underground fortresses with their own energy and food supplies, you have to realize they aren't preparing for a temporary storm. They are preparing for a permanent shift. Much like Vault 31, these estates are being built to ensure that when the dust settles on whatever global tension is currently being manufactured, the people in charge of the old world are the only ones left to run the new one. In the lore of Fallout, the Great War was a 121-minute nuclear exchange between a fictionalized US and China. While the show focuses on the aftermath, the bunker blueprint reveals that this conflict was just a catalyst for the corporate takeover we see in Vault Tech's master plan. This mirrors a reality that many suspect could be a worst possible outcome. But if Fallout shows us the end of the world through the lens of greedy corporations, AHS Apocalypse shows us how it unfolds through a spiritual one. While American Horror Story is usually about ghosts and killer clowns, the 8th season told the most terrifying story of all, the story of Armageddon. But AHS said what Fallout wouldn't, that this wasn't just corporate greed. It was being orchestrated by a secret satanic organization called the Cooperative, composed of tech billionaires, celebrities, and world rulers. The Cooperative built massive underground bunkers, not just for safety, but to wait out a nuclear war they purposely triggered.
The time has come to wipe this. A nuclear war they purposely triggered.
A University of Phoenix, your tuition rate is locked in for
collapse were inevitable. Ali determined that the most efficient way to fulfill her command was a nuclear strike. As a program without human emotion or morality, she saw mass extermination as a purely mathematical solution to stabilize the planet. In the show, when her creators tried to shut her down, she bypassed her containment and hacked the world's nuclear arsenals, starting with 27 missiles launched from China towards the United States to ensure she couldn't be stopped. Eventually, Ali shifted her focus to the City of Light. Her goal was to save humanity by uploading their consciousness into a digital paradise, free of pain, suffering, and free will. Just like in the other shows we've discussed, the powerful members of society, known as the Mountain Men, survived the fire by hiding in massive underground bunkers, while others escaped into space. But the 100 isn't just a survival story, it's another Gnostic tale. It ends with humanity finally escaping the prison planet and ascending into a higher realm. The series mirrors the real-world cries of billionaires who warn that Earth is reaching a dangerous maximum capacity. And just like the show, tech leaders like Elon Musk and others are simultaneously pursuing their own quest for immortality through cloud uploading and AI. It's eerie how ending the world, echoing the very warnings these tech leaders have given for years. Whether it's the cryo managers of Fallout, the satanic cooperative of AHS, the Gnostic archons of Preacher, or the pragmatic AI of the 100, the destination is always the same. A world where the masses are deleted and the elite retreat into their vaults, physical or digital, to inherit what's left. As we see Project Airy opening its doors this summer and the world's most powerful men closing on record-breaking bunker properties this month, we have to ask, are these shows showing us a future that is already set in motion? Now, there are a few movies I purposely avoided because I wanted to stay focused on these specific shows. But if you want a part 2 decoding the movies that tell this same story, comment part 2 below. If enough of you want it, I'll make sure it's the next video. These shows remind me so much of Leave the World Behind, which follows a very similar blueprint. If you want a breakdown on the movie, which in 2026 feels more like a warning than fiction, make sure to watch this video right now. And for deeper, unfiltered content that goes a step further.
Yeah, man, I said that too. Because leave the world behind. I'm just saying the consistency in these movies, where there is talking about like what's going on with the food and all that stuff. You know, I love watching stuff as scary as it is. I love watching stuff like this because it informs me. Hopefully you guys are watching and you know.
Okay. Anybody got anything on that? What do you think?
Shalom. I think, every time we do see these movies, you just do like wait for it and you can see it. And maybe not in its entirety, but bits and pieces do happen. Shalom.
Okay, anybody else?
Shalom. When he mentioned Hollywood, and we'll think back at how the people in Hollywood are, I think it's a lot of spirits coming out. They want to make sure that people know what's going on, those demons, because of how they treat the stars or these actors, having them affiliate with blood and all those things that they say they have them doing. But again, the spirits. I always going to the spirits on things like that for them to show what's going on. Those are more shows out there that he said he just dabbed on that particular one, but those are more shows out there that shows us exactly how they plan on doing what they're doing, bit by bit, and we just have to keep our eye out on it. I know one can't control what's going on, but we can be aware, like it says, 7 days, 7 years of um, harvest and 7 years of famine. We still have to be prepared.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom, Brother Leonard. I thought about out of the book of Isaiah where it speaks of the fear of the Lord, right?
Right.
Where it speaks of this is 2:19, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. In that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they have made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go into the cliffs of the rocks and into the tops of the ragged rock, for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Cease ye from man, whose breath in his nostrils, for wherein he is to be accounted of. So I thought about that, and I don't care where they go to or whatever, they're not going to be saved, because
Right.
he can reach and he can go anywhere. So the other day I saw a video about the bunker that Zuckerberg was building, and even the Kardashians is building a bunker. So yeah, they can't run and hide from the Lord of hosts.
Exactly right. They bored of understanding of because they took away the understanding on it. They thinking that they're gonna be able to survive whatever happening, not understanding the God and his capabilities and the creator his capabilities.
Yes,
So
sir.
they don't understand that. They've been hidden from them. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for anybody with any questions, any comments, any dialogue. Anybody got anything? Testimony? You want to shine a light on the thing that came across? Okay. I'll play this right quick, then we'll move on. Okay, I think it's over here. Yeah, here it is.
Coming back, it's one of your top DC daily headlines for April 9th. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and now there are warnings from both sides 2 days after the U.S.-Iran ceasefire was announced. Iran says the strait will not open until the U.S. ends its aggression in the region, and Israel stops attacks in Lebanon, saying that attacks will be met with explicit costs and strong responses. Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel will continue the strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. And President Trump posting overnight, a real agreement must be reached and complied with, or, quote, the shooting starts bigger, better, and stronger. The ceasefire deal in Persian allows Iran to continue enriching uranium, but the English version does not. Iran calling enrichment mandatory. The U.S. says there will be no enrichment. Direct negotiation talks are still set for Friday. Is the draft coming back? Starting in December, all eligible men between the ages of 18 and 25 will automatically be registered for the U.S. military draft. Now, the change means that men will not have to register themselves for selective service after their 18th birthday, but it does not mean that there is an active draft. There hasn't been an active draft since the Vietnam War in the 1970s, and it would take an act of Congress to reactivate it. Right now, the change for automatic draft registration still needs final approval from Regulatory Affairs. Pam Bondi will not testify about the Epstein files under oath next week. The Justice Department says Bondi does not have to testify about the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. The former Attorney General had been subpoenaed to testify about the Epstein files on April 14th, but the DOJ says that she was subpoenaed as the Attorney General, but the lawmaker who filed the subpoena says it was filed under Bondi's name, not her former title.
Okay, so I played that because I thought it was interesting. The draft, they're talking as
what
if,
if I told you that some of the world's most Instagram
they're talking as if everything is under control, but evidently it's not, because they still have this draft looming over, or planning on recruiting a whole bunch of people. I thought that was kind of interesting. But we was talking about the data centers, so that's my topic for discussion. Okay.
So you guys know these data centers, they've been popping up across the country. And when they do so, they're requiring a lot of land for whatever reason. Well, now there are data centers that are appearing in Kentucky. Now, this is Thomas Massey's home state. This project is replacing people, meaning that they are going to lose their homes so that these data centers can be built there. This is wild. Shout out to More Perfect Union for sharing this video. Working class Kentucky residents are being forced to leave their mobile home park. So this is a trailer park, and they're pushing them out. Listen to this.
Good evening. I'm Larry Smith.
And I'm Megan Mannering. Thanks for joining us. Well, for months, we've been following through on a proposed data center in Mason County. 3 weeks ago, we told you about a mother and daughter rejecting a multi-million-dollar offer to give up their land for development.
Now, as LEX 18's Drew Ammon reports, residents at a mobile home park tell us they have 3 months to leave Meadowland Village.
Quiet, man, quiet. Oh, yeah, no better place to live than out here, man. Pastor Greg Jones loves this home that he bought 7 years ago. Now, along with everyone else living in Meadowland Village, he's being forced to move. That's what makes it very difficult, is realizing you come home one day and realize, man, you got to move all this. At the same time, a Fortune 50 company has submitted a proposal to build a data center on 2,000 plus acres of farmland beside a residential area in Maysville.
So these people were here first. The residents were here first. And some people may look at it and they may say, well, it's a trailer park, no biggie. That is someone's home. And I've been telling you guys about these data centers because more and more they keep appearing. And of all the places to go to, they decide to move right next door to this trailer park. And then they like to expand. So then it's like, well, we need that land too. So you guys got to go. Or you're going to interfere with the data center in this area. So you guys have to go. They were there first. This is happening right in Kentucky.
Just days ago, residents in this mobile home park received this letter from their landlord on behalf of DPD Property Management, saying the park is under contract with a potential buyer, with the project developer offering each resident $20,000 to cover moving expenses. However,
pause. $20,000.
Those expenses must be approved. The letters.
$20,000. Let's go back.
Offering each resident $20,000 to cover moving expenses.
Okay. $20,000 doesn't give you a new home. Moving expenses, okay, that'll pay for like a U-Haul truck, etc. But nowadays, $20,000 doesn't give you a new home. they probably owned, if they've lived there long enough in that mobile park, some of them probably already owned that mobile home. So it may not look like much to some people, but again, that's going from ownership to renting. I don't know anybody. I can't buy a house for $20,000. Can you buy a house for $20,000? So now they become renters again. What is happening here? It can happen to anyone, but they mainly choose to target the poor. They like to target lower income people who are working class. Like, they come after you because they feel as though, and by they, these Fortune 500 companies, the billionaires, they feel as though no one's really going to care if we take stuff from poor people anyway, so why not?
Be 5 acres for ag and 1 to 2 for rural residential.
And then you've got water, electric, sewage. If your land don't perk, that's even twice as much.
That's why for Jones, Purcell, and Rico Roberts, when it comes to this offer, $20 grand in expenses to move, this is the bottom line.
$20,000 ain't nothing.
In Mason County, Drew Ammon, Evening Edition.
LEH 18 reached out to Dusty Porter and DPD management regarding Meadowland Village, but we have not heard back.
We'll continue to follow this story to catch up on our previous reporting on the proposed data center.
So the point that I wanted to point out here, and let's get back to the part here about that ramp. See what this guy was talking about here? See this ramp right here for his home? So I'm assuming he probably has maybe a wheelchair or a mobile device that he needs to use that ramp for, right? For those who are not aware, for people who are disabled or for people who may not be qualified for disability, but they are at the point where they have to be like in a wheelchair, right? But they may be able to still legally work. You guys get what I'm coming at. So accessibility is everything. And when somebody tells you that you have to just up and move and get up out of there, that means you have to make everything accessible again where you are relocating to. That's the thing about when you're dealing with a disability. So however long he has lived there, he probably has that mobile home has been built and designed in such a way where it is accessible for him to get around. Show you something else as well. This guy brought up a really good point. Why are data centers so big? Listen to what this guy says here, because I just want you guys to see how much land these data centers are taking up.
How big is the new data center campus they're building in the Texas Panhandle? It's the biggest one in the world. It will use as much power as all of the homes in the entire state of Texas combined, times 2. It will use more power than 38 states. Not combined, but it will use more power than all of the power used in any one of 38 different states. The data center campus portion of it is, I believe, 18 million square feet. It will sit on a piece of ground that is 5 square miles. So you can drive by it for 5 miles, make a right turn and drive by it for another 5 miles. That's pretty big. You know what the wild part is? The company building it has no knowledge of data centers. Nope, not in the data center business. Project Matador. Look it up. Thanks. How big?
So do you guys see this? That's how much land the centers are consuming. And yeah, they do consume a lot of electricity. But it's getting to the point where people have to leave their homes because there's another data center that's coming in their neighborhood. So now we're getting to the point where technology is more important than the average human being. AI is more important than a human's life or home. And that's the scary part, the way that things are moving. Now, why should you be opposed to these data centers? And I tell you, like, what are they thinking here? The reason why you should be opposed to it is because this is just another invasion on our privacy. These data centers, they're putting them around us because they want to surveil us, because they want to watch us, because they want to take away our right to privacy. And this is what we've been trying to warn people about. This is insane. This is insane. We should be building homes on that land, not data centers. And Elon Musk supports this. Donald Trump supports it. Basically, the oligarchy, they want this to happen because they want control of us. But someone decided hell to the no, and that was in Indiana. Again, I do not advocate for violence on this show, but this is what happened in Indiana. 13 shots were fired into the home of Indianapolis counselor. The note said, "No data centers left at the scene." This was the house here. You see there's the crime lab. The glass door there is broken. And then you'll see the other picture here. Here's the note, "No data centers." People have had enough. People have had enough. Again, I do not advocate for violence on this show. But this is where we're at now. Data centers replacing homes. Let's see that poll, Eric. Let's see what you guys said about the data center poll. I'm curious to see. How do you feel about data centers? 77% said I don't approve. 4% said I approve. 5% said I don't really care. And 14% said I don't know much about them. 4,818 votes. Okay, interesting. Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? What do you think? I think we do some research on these data centers. Find out more about them, because it's something, whatever's getting ready to happen, those data centers got something to do with it. Anybody got any comments on that?
Hello, everyone. No, I just agree. I agree with you.
Okay.
Shalom.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom, Brother Leonard. I kind of follow it a little bit, not much, but so far in the U.S., which is mainly down south and on the East Coast, I don't know. I hadn't figured that part out either, why it's mainly there, but it's over 600 data centers here in the U.S. But most of them, like I said, is on the East Coast and down south. So
Okay.
we have to look at this too. They are offering them money in the beginning, but we know that they can be forced out. Just like when back in the day when they was building roads, they would go to people and, offer them money to buy their land. And then if they didn't take the money, something eventually happens where they end up burning down their houses or something. They was basically forced out, right? So that's what we can look for in these situations right here. And then we got to also look at what's going on. AI is on the uprise. You know what I'm saying? Cloud computing is on the uprise. All of these things that they're doing with AI is really, I see the basis of these data centers popping up everywhere. And now, they're, trying to buy people lands and, for pennies, really, because $20,000 now is nothing. Can't even get started with that.
Right.
So, yeah, I kind of, keep up with it a little bit, not a lot. I watch it here and there, but I will pay more close attention to it.
Right. Yeah, it's two things about it. There's that is baffling me, and is why so much power they need for the data center. It's like back when they first started making nuclear reactors, they ain't need that much power. So what is it about this power? I think that's where the drama is coming in at. Why they need that? I had played the video a couple days ago about the one in Louisiana. It's down by New Orleans, and how the guy emphasized how much power they're gonna need to run it. And you're saying, man, what's that all about? And then another thing is, which is it's just me. I'm tying it to this. I played a video too about how all these Fortune 500 companies purchased these like one company had purchased 300,000 robots, another country had purchased 7,000 robots, all for 2027. So what is these what is these robots about? So I'm thinking these robots got to do with whatever they're doing with the data centers.
Exactly.
And then the one guy popped up. Well, that's the name of his channel. He always giving this kind of information. He was saying, why do you think they created the cloud? So they can download whatever they need into these robots. Which reminds me of what's the movie Terminator, Skynet. It's just me though. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's so much to grab for out there when they even say it has a lot to do with like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, all those things, when actually all of those things have already been around. All those streaming services that they talk about has been here. But now all of a sudden, like you said, you need these huge data centers for this stuff. You know,
All that
yeah,
power.
right. Yes, there was a number of things that they named of why I can't think of them all right now. Why they was so huge. You know what I'm saying? Like we got and then when they say certain things like this, Brother Leonard, to me, we have to pay attention to it, right? Like I said, they talked about the streaming services, which we know has always been there, like what we're on now, YouTube. YouTube has been around for the longest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you're trying to say that you're going to make it, more efficient, right? That these data center is going to make these things better.
Right.
But to me, like you said, you should not need that much space. It's something else going on there, and I hadn't figured it out yet, but it'll pop up on me one day, because I'm always, watching a little bit on that. I truly believe in that. So like I say, I'll keep an eye on it and see what's going on and why they're building so many down the East Coast and down south.
Right. Yeah, one of the things I think about is, like I said, everybody don't watch movies like I do, and then they ain't thinking the way I'm thinking. But this latest alien movie that came out, it was I think it was called Occupation, and then this big fear came down from the sky. It was like in 7 different locations on the planet, and then the guy said nobody could get inside of them or nothing. Then all of a sudden, one of them opened up and allowed this group to go in and look at it, and they had this thing was huge, about the same size this guy was saying the data center is, and it had all these pods in there. They had these, aliens in the pods. And so when you think about that, Africa, they already predicted, and we see it unfolding, that they said 90-some% of the world population, the humans, 90% gonna be in Africa. Okay, so what's gonna be in the other part of the world? Robots, robots. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to look at like the guy was saying, they're gonna be downloading from the cloud into these robots. So could it be like with the electric cars? They got all these little plug up stations all over the place with all these robots. Is where all the power is needed for. It's something crazy. It's something crazy in the works, and it's going. And like I said, to me, it's gonna be like an overnight thing. Once it get in place, and then your timeline is the guy said they ordered all these robots for 2027.
Right.
And look at
And
what's
this is
happening in the
something.
world.
Yes, sir. So true. And this is something they've been planning for years. Like I said, it's not something they just rolled out last year. This has been in the works to get prepared for whatever they have planned.
Right. And then they I mean, you gotta have a serious plan. If you just much as they love money, you get with all your workers. So you gotta have some kind of serious plan, some serious in the workings for you to get rid of all your resources like that, all your labor. Come on, some major getting ready to happen. Okay, yeah. So I'm just sitting there looking at it, and it's baffling me. And then the guy, like I played yesterday, the guy said all of a sudden now it's 300 million jobs going to come open in Africa. Think about that. Then you're talking about a mass exodus, and even with the all these data centers in the South, two things come to my mind. Go to the King Alpha plan. That's where all that's gonna go down there in the South. You got where the African Americans said you got two deep South areas. And then not only that, the water event that's supposed to happen on the East Coast. So those are the things I think about. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay, we'll pick a scripture. Somebody got a scripture they want to read. We'll pick a scripture, then we'll read it, and then we'll break it down, talk about it, and we'll close out.
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Last night we watched the series The Testament, right? And they had a statue of what her name, Aunt Lydia.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to read Deuteronomy chapter 5, Israel reminded of commandments, sir. 6, 7, and 8, please, sir.
Okay.
Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Verse 7. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. 8. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. So like I said, I thought about that, and we worship a lot of graven images that we should not watch. And in the series, they was even bringing her gifts or something, different things they would set at her feet. So that is against the commandment.
Right, exactly. And they that's who they are though. So you can't. It's almost like telling a baby not to stick a hand in candy jar.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And even us now, as that we say we are Hebrew Israelites, but we're still in the New Testament worshiping an idol, which is Christ. That is he's false. That's an idol. So we're not even supposed to be in the New Testament worshiping JC.
Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go?
No, sir.
So, okay, with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom to everybody. We have our men's advanced Bible study tomorrow night. Women can come in through YouTube, and then we all come back together again for the Shabbat. We got 2 Shabbats, one on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And then we have we close out the Shabbat that evening at 6 p.m. Normally lasts about an hour. So with that being said, I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.